In this training video, I'm going to look at creating charts in Microsoft Excel. Now, there are different ways of creating charts, and what I see a lot of people doing when I'm delivering face-to-face training is what's called combining headings and numbers to create their chart. Now, this will work with small bits of information, and I'll prove the point. So this is a method that I wouldn't recommend, but does work. I will then show you the correct way of creating a chart. So if I then left this information selected with the headings plus the numbers, now all charts from 2007 onwards, version 2007, version 2010, 13 and 16, all on the Insert tab. So Insert, say now I went, and this is version 2016. So under my charts, if I wanted a column chart comparing sales against expenditure for all the different regions, I can then choose the chart, and it quickly gives me a chart which I can then put a title against. So I know my sales, I know my expenditure. So it is a quick way of creating a chart for small bits of information. But this is not the way that I would teach it, because I know that if people have larger spreadsheets, this method causes trouble, and I've seen it in different companies that I've worked with where they haven't been able to chart correctly. So that is one way. It's a way of using charting for small bits of information, but it's not one I would recommend. I would get used to how to create the chart correctly. So I'm going to delete this chart by clicking on and pressing delete. And I'm going to show you the method that I would recommend in creating charts. So in creating charts, I would always highlight the numbers you're looking to chart. So always leave the headings till later on, but only look at the numbers first. So you first got to know what are you trying to chart. So in this example, I'm going to try and chart the sales against the expenditure for all the different regions, but I only want to highlight the numbers first. So the first step in effect in creating a chart is knowing what you've got to highlight. So in this example, it's only the numbers for all the regions. It's going to be from B3 to C9. So that's the first thing you've got to do when you're charting, is knowing what numbers you need to highlight. And the way you'll know that is knowing what kind of chart you want to create. So in this example, I want to make a comparison between sales and expenditure for all the regions. So that's why I've highlighted these numbers. I'm going to start using the same method now. I'll go to the Insert tab. I'll choose the kind of chart I want. There's lots of charts within Excel. Now on the Excel Fundamentals training video, we do go a lot further in charting. So in this video, I'm just going to give you the basics of it, but I do go a lot further in the Excel Fundamentals training video. So I'm going to use a standard column chart, and I'm going to choose the top one, a 2D column. Okay, so that's a basic chart, but now go in the way that I've explained to you, whereby you didn't highlight the headings. You can now see the chart is very, in effect, meaningless, because you've got a 1 to a 7, you've got a series 1, series 2. So going this way, you have to then put the headings in shortly. So I'll show you when to put the headings in. But at this stage, you need to know why you've got extra tabs. So as soon as the chart was created, extra tabs appear called chart tools. Now, if I click in a cell away from the chart, so I click in cell, in this example, A12, the tabs disappear, and that's because I've clicked off the chart. So if I click back onto the chart tool tabs reappear. So what that's saying to you is those two tabs, chart tools, they're for the chart. So as you get better and better with charts, you learn to use chart tools. In version 2010, there's an extra one. There's 3 tabs under chart tools. This is version 2016, has 2, and so does version 2013 have 2. So under version 2016, I'm now going to use, under chart tools, I'm going to change the design because I want to include the headings. So under the design tab, I'm going to select the data. Now the select the data means I'm going back for the headings. So select data, And I'm just going to pull it out the way so I can see what I'm doing here. So right now I know series 1 I can see, series 2 I can see, and I can see 1 down to 7, which is across the bottom. So I know if the headings go in place of these numbers and series, that will then make the chart more readable. So this is where you've got to know what the numbers and series mean. Well, if I look at 1 to 7, and there's the 1 to 7 on the right hand side, looking at the chart, what do they represent? Well, if I look at where can I see 7 bits of information? Well, really it's the regions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regions altogether. So if I look at 1 to 7, that's referring to the regions. So I know that down the bottom, when I see 1, 2, 3, I'd need to see north, northwest and central, right across to west when I've completed the headings. Well, if I look at series 1, series 1 is a blue color. Well, if I look at the blue is the largest value. Well, if I look at my largest value between sales and expenditure, the largest value is the sales. So series 1 would have to be the sales heading because you're only going back for the headings. So when you're using select data, it's only for headings. Well, if series 1 is going to be the business sales, series 2 has to be the expenditure. So let's see how we change them. So if you look at the select data source, you can see there's 2 white boxes, one on the left with series 1, series 2, and one on the right with the numbers. So I'm going to click the edit button above the numbers first to change the numbers. So edit. Now it's going to say to me where are the headings for 1 to 7. Well, they're in cell A3 to cell A9. So I'm going to click and drag A3 to A9 and click OK. Now that shows me I've put my regions into the chart. Beginning to look a bit more effective now. Series 1 on the right hand side, I need to change that. Edit. What should series 1 be? Business sales. And that's B1, only the headings. Okay. It's now beginning to make sense. Series 2. Edit again above the series 2. What should that be? Expenditure. Click OK. Now I can see my chart is making sense. I know the business sales are the blue, the expenditures the orange, and I can see all my regions clearly identified across the bottom. Click OK. And really that's a pretty good chart. If I gave this a title now, I might call this business analysis. So to put a heading in version 2016 and version 2013, it's under the design tab. I think version 2010 is under the layout tab. So under version 2013 and 16 design tab, and we're going to use add chart element. And in this example, I'm going to say add a chart title. Now I want it to go above the chart. I clicked it once, and now I'm going to type in business analysis. And as I'm typing, you can see it going in the formula bar at the top. So it shows me the word business. So I'm just typing and then enter. And all of a sudden you'll see business analysis take over where it says chart title at present. And there's my heading or my title for the chart. So I've got my chart headings. Business sales, blue, the orange expenditure. I've got my chart title, business analysis. I know my regions. Now this is a pretty good chart. Now if you've got lots of information, if you just leave a chart in its own worksheet, you might start obstructing the information. So I recommend people in my face-to-face sessions to move it to a new location. So I'm going to move the chart to a new area. So under the design tab, I'm going to click move chart. And I'm going to move it to a new sheet. And yes, I'll leave it chart 1. That's fine. It's my first chart. And I'm going to click OK. And now the chart is in its new sheet called chart 1, showing sales, expenditure. Now what I am going to do in the next training video is show you how to format a chart you've created. So this is only the start of it. This is only the creation. Now we can make it look prettier and make the text look bigger, because at the moment the text might look a little bit small. You must think, how would that look in print? So we'll look at print then before we make the formatting changes, and then we'll do formatting changes. But this shows you how to create a chart in Microsoft Excel.